Mainland's South Asian community is on edge.
Very scary, especially the business community is very nervous.
Big problem with the community, and community is not safe.
Criminals have been shaking them down for money, and if they don't comply, their businesses or even their homes are targeted.
We begin with breaking news. Police are investigating what looks to be yet another extortion-related shooting in Surrey.
Gunfire erupts at a Surrey business just hours after another attack.
And the problem only appears to be getting worse.
This shooting was an extortion-related event.
Police are investigating another extortion incident where shots were fired at a South Asian-owned business.
Who's behind these extortion threats and violence?
As long as organized crime's been around, extortion's been around.
I can recognize his voice.
And what are police and politicians doing about the problem?
This is devastating in the city of Surrey. It's devastating to every one of us.
In this special, we explore the extortion crisis in depth, speaking with experts.
We've heard about these extortions. We've seen the movies that glorify these types of extortions.
Lawrence went to the jail as a student leader. He came out as a criminal.
As well as police.
Certainly cowardly, clearly designed to intimidate, and again, to make money.
People are looking at making money because this is, as somebody described it to me, financial terrorism.
But first,
Still asking for the same money, and right now they're not threatening for my business. Right now they're threatening for my house and my kids.
We hear from a victim about what he's been going through. Coming up. Lovepreet Singh opened 1313 Car Wash in Surrey about 2.5 years ago. Things were going well until August 16th when he got a call from a private number.
He said, we want like 50,000 Canadian dollars. If you are not paying this money, then we will destroy your business. We will destroy your house. And they are threatening toward my wife and my kids. Even they know my house address and everything.
Later that night, he says a few men did come by his house with weapons. As he, his wife, and 2 kids slept, Singh says they knocked on the front door before eventually leaving. But the following night, his business was shot at and broken into.
They do the first shot on this one and the 2 shots right there on this one glasses. It was just a double layer glasses. It was very strong. And they just went from this door. First of all, they broke on that door and just smashed it down, and they took all of the stuff from inside.
He estimates the group stole up to $15,000 worth of equipment.
Stolen everything, from my shop. Even all of chemicals, supplies, pressure washer, carpet extractor, air compressor, everything they took.
And the threats haven't stopped.
Still asking for the same money, and right now they are not threatening for my business. Right now they're threatening for my house and my kids. They said police can only save your business. Nobody can save your kids and your family if you're not paying this amount.
Singh, who says he can't afford to pay the extortionists, isn't the only one going through this. In Surrey, which is hardest hit by the problem, police say as of October 6th, they're investigating 56 extortion-related cases so far this year, 31 involving shots fired. In Abbotsford, which is second hardest hit, police say they're investigating 23 incidents, 4 involving gunfire. And there are more incidents in other cities, but the figure's only what's been reported to police.
I believe that is very underreported. I would be surprised if that's even a third or a quarter of the extortions that are taking place, because it's just not coming into law enforcement.
These are Canadians. These are Canadian businesses that are getting extorted.
And it's not just happening in BC, with cities like Edmonton and Brampton also seeing dozens of extortion cases over the last few years.
Well, I started to hear a bit about this about 2.5 years ago, and then it perpetuated to the extent where we were starting to get significant threats going to people in the Fraser Valley, in the Abbotsford area, and the Surrey area.
And sometimes they call the business line, other times they have their personal cell phones. So they're getting calls not on the business site, but at home or something. And so they pick up the phone and they get a shakedown. Basically, someone is extorting them. Basically, what that means is using this threat of violence and demanding some sort of monetary gain from that.
So who's behind the threats and violence?
It's definitely a spectrum. In that way, we can't think of it only as, a particular gang and go after that one gang and then everything gets solved.
One group that is believed to be behind some of the extortions, the Bishnoi gang.
There are some of our investigations that definitely, we believe, have some connections to the Bishnoi group.
I'll say this, that we are looking very closely at that.
Started by Lawrence Bishnoi, the group has been linked to the 2024 shooting at the Vancouver Island home of Punjabi singer A.P. Dillon, and some believe the group is linked to the 2023 fatal shooting of BC Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Surrey. Japinderjeet Singh, a journalist in India and author of several books, says Bishnoi is the top gangster in India right now.
And he has 700 active members and more than 2,000 hideouts all over India.
Bishnoi has been in an Indian jail since 2014, with 84 cases brought against him.
So these cases are brawls, snatchings, lootings, murders, attempt to murders, extortions, robberies.
His followers or his cohort, under his name, are engaging in many of these activities. And to what extent they actually are engaging in the activities they're claiming that they're, sometimes it's like public notoriety. Oh, we did this. If no one else is going to claim it, we're going to claim it. We don't know.
Last year, the federal RCMP accused the Bishnoi gang of working for India, which the Indian government has denied. And in September, the federal government labeled the group a terrorist organization, with Public Safety Canada saying in a statement, the Bishnoi gang engages in murder, shootings, and arson, and generates terror through extortion and intimidation. The designation, a move supported by police.
It allows police, specifically the RCMP, because they are in charge of national security, it allows them to do many more things potentially that they didn't have the authority to do before. That includes seizures or investigative techniques that they now have the authority to employ. And it also puts people on notice as far as that we won't tolerate this.
I think we've given this guy a title, and he certainly doesn't deserve it. For example, trying to name it a terrorist group, that's ridiculous. We've got 88 terrorist groups listed here in Canada, including the Mexican cartels. We still have them involved in drug trafficking. We still have them involved in criminal organizations here. It has not made any difference.
But while a lot of attention has been given to the Bishnoi gang, police and experts agree the group is not behind all the extortion crimes in Canada, with BC-based Brothers Keepers also believed to be responsible.
The Brothers Keepers are thugs involved in illicit criminal activity, whether it's extortions, whether it's drug trafficking, whether it's something else.
And it isn't just gangs behind these brazen crimes, with copycats and opportunists now believed to be trying to make a quick buck.
To say that it's all organized crime wouldn't be accurate, because there is some local people that are just going on the backs of those that have already done this for a couple of years.
The people contacting them are claiming to be connected to organized crime groups. And the worse sounding the crime group that they can name, the greater the fear it inflicts upon the victim. So certainly those allegations are out there. The question is, what do we have in terms of real hard evidence to actually say, yes, that is the case? And again, while I wouldn't be able to speak to what we've got, it is one of those things that I think it's much easier to claim to be connected to that than it is likely that they are connected to that.
In Lovepreet Singh's case, he believes a former employee is part of the group targeting him.
I can recognize his voice because he worked over here like 10 to 11 months.
He says he's identified the former worker to the Surrey Police Service, but as is the case in most extortion investigations, no charges have been laid.
We have the information, we have evidence that we're working on, the investigation is progressing.
Morning, sir.
Coming up, a major breakthrough.
It was through some good old-fashioned police work.
Charges are laid in connection to some extortions, but what seemed to take so long? Next. On September 6th, police announced a breakthrough.
These 3 suspects were arrested on October the 3rd, and charges have now been laid.
The Surrey Police Service revealed it had arrested and charged 3 men in connection to a March 2025 extortion investigation. And hours later,
today we're here to announce that BC Prosecution Service has approved charges in 2 separate investigations.
The BCRCMP announced charges against 4 men in connection to 2 separate extortion investigations of their own. 2 of the men, the same ones, linked to the 2024 shooting at AP Dillon's house, which has been connected to Bishnoi.
It was a really important day. It was really a move forward day for us. It's the charges laid part that was so crucial to this.
The charges, the first in the extortion crisis that's gripped the Lower Mainland's South Asian community for months. For some, it was long overdue. So what seemingly took so long?
That's just a reflection of the time it's taking to do the investigations, the amount of evidence that we're collecting, and then the ongoing process of saying, have we put all the pieces of the puzzle together that we're able to put together, and then get it to Crown Counsel for them to review.
It's a time thing, it's complex. Some of these files originate offshore, so you can appreciate how difficult it is to start putting things together. There's a bit of a network, we feel, there's groups, and so we have to unpack all that, and it takes a little bit of time.
Police say compared to other crimes, there are unique challenges when it comes to figuring out who is behind an extortion and related violence.
The suspects who are involved in it, they kind of stay to the perimeter. So they aren't necessarily entering a building, they aren't necessarily running into members of the public. There aren't the same opportunities that might happen with certain crimes where they have to, they're more engaged in something, or they're more delayed trying to get away from the scene. So it's a very quick and I think you can appreciate, I appreciate, if someone shoots at your house, that's a huge impact on yourself, on your concern for your family. So it's a huge impact, but they invest relatively little in terms of planning, organization, and then they leave.
Sometimes there's also this sense of the police is not doing enough to catch people. But in the end, like, what do you expect the police to do? They can only do, you charge somebody based on evidence.
Former Solicitor General and Police Chief Kash Heed believes other factors are at play.
Part of it is I got to blame it on our policymakers and our law enforcement officials for not getting ahead of this problem like other jurisdictions have.
In Edmonton and Brampton, where extortionists have also been targeting the South Asian community, police have made arrests and laid charges over the last year. And some suspects have even already been convicted and sentenced.
Do you think police were maybe slow to recognize the problem?
I don't believe that was the case, no. I think we're just dealing with, like I said, it's sort of it's a crime where it's at a very high-end scale of the violence that they're using. But it's a very slow process to collect the evidence we need in order to identify who's responsible and then get the packages to where it needs to be for Crown Counsel to be able to take a look at them.
Difficult to compare exactly fact patterns to Edmonton or to Brampton. I know in Edmonton they had a series of arsons as opposed to shootings. So each case has to be assessed on its own merits. And I know with Edmonton, I know with Brampton that it took quite a bit of time.
Heed also believes that what he calls the balkanization of policing in the Lower Mainland has made it challenging to crack down on extortionists.
When you look at, for example, Edmonton, it's a regional area that they were dealing with. So you had one person you could hold to account, and that's the chief of the Edmonton Police Service to deal with it. Brampton, Ontario with Peel Regional, it's one police agency dealing with it.
Mounties disagree with that assessment.
At the operational level, at the sort of boots on the ground level, to use that analogy, we have all kinds of different forums where we ensure that we're talking to each other and we're sharing information. and we work very well together.
Police maintain they're doing everything they can to continue to make progress and that charges aren't necessarily the way to measure success, citing the Supreme Court of Canada's 2016 Jordan decision, which established time limits for trials, 18 months after charges are laid for provincial court and 30 months for Superior Court.
So there are times when, between our discussions with Crown Counsel and police, we don't necessarily want to rush to charge approval simply to get charge approval, because then the clock is ticking for all the other things that we need to do.
I think in Canada what makes it difficult is that the citizens have very strong rights. It's not easy to pick someone and bump the person off, which happens in a lot of other parts of the country.
Police have been urging those getting threats not to pay, but Heed says he's aware of a person who did about a year and a half ago.
This person went to report it to then the Surrey RCMP. First of all, he phoned. They said they can't take it over the phone, come in. He went into the office. He sat there for 3 hours in the lobby and nobody came forward to help him. He was sitting there waiting for someone to take his complaint. He went to the counter, was told to go home and report it over the internet. He was so disillusioned of what had taken place, he ended up paying upwards of $3 million from a Canadian chartered bank to 5 different bank accounts in India. And given the lack of credibility with some of the, not only the law enforcement in India, but certainly the financial institutions, it would be very difficult then to track where that money ended up at the very end.
And he says the person has not received more threats since.
Speaking just in broader terms, every police agency does not want to hear a story like that. What we want to be able to do is if people are coming in, they're complaining about a serious offense, that they get the time, the report's taken, and there's a diligent, thorough follow-up on it. So I think, getting into specifics of those, I don't know the details of it, but I'd say what everyone would try and do is say, if it wasn't done right the first time, please come back and we'll get it right the second time.
As the threats and violence continue, what's being done to tackle the issue?
People are terrorized in our city. There is not an event or a day that goes by that I'm not talking to people who are frightened.
And what victims are doing in the meantime. Coming up. Two months after his business was shot at and broken into following extortion threats and no one charged, Lovepreet Singh is taking measures to keep him and his family safe.
For my family, they are not just going so much for the outing, not allowed to go in the park. We don't want to lose them, if they're going outside, someone can just hurt them.
With more than 50 extortion-related cases so far this year in Surrey alone, and charges only laid in 3 extortion investigations locally, Singh isn't the only one in the region fearing for himself and his family.
People are frustrated, I'm frustrated. People are concerned and I'm concerned.
The ongoing crisis has prompted the province and police to act, most recently with the launch of a new provincial extortion task force led by the BC RCMP.
So the police of jurisdiction, they're going to stay focused on what do we have to do to advance our investigation, and then do we bring in a task force to say, okay, this is part of something, this might be linked to a target group that we're already taking a look at, in which case they would maybe absorb the file, bring some investigative resources from that police of jurisdiction, and then carry on with the task force mandate.
The BC RCMP has refused to say how many cases the task force is currently investigating, saying it's still assessing files. The provincial task force not the only one launched, with the Abbotsford Police Department also recently starting its own.
This would be what I would describe as the second largest time where we've had to pull a bunch of resources together here at Abbey PD in a short period of time. So that first time was the floods of 2021, where things change overnight and we got to now mobilize. Well, we're doing the same thing here.
The city of Surrey has also taken matters into its own hands, recently funding a $250,000 police reward, one of the largest in Canadian history.
There have been tips that have gone directly to the Surrey Police Service. There has been a tip that has come to myself personally.
Locke believes more can be done, especially when it comes to the Canadian justice system.
criminals cannot be getting away with this, and they are. So we must make sure that we're being much tougher. There needs to be a bit of a cultural shift within the Crown, within the prosecutor's office, to say these people that are creating this kind of havoc in our cities are treated with every single bit of power the law can provide.
BC Premier David Eby has been calling on the federal government to amend federal bail laws and address public safety. The federal justice minister has said criminal justice legislation will be tabled this fall. In the meantime, police stress they're doing everything they can to ensure more charges are laid against more people.
We are not stopping. We will not stop. We will continue to go until we have every piece of evidence we can find. And our goal is to put these perpetrators in front of the court so that they can be dealt with.
We're hopeful that when people are held accountable, that it'll subside, or at least we mitigate this. Because right now it's very, very concerning about the amount of files that we have.
Until then, victims like Singh are left waiting.
If they are not arresting them, like they are going to another business, then going to another business, even they can harm like someone's family, even they can harm like my family, my employees' family, whatever. It's everything.